coaches need coaches as well. We all have our blind spots, and a coach can sit with you and look at the blind spots. And coaches come in many different forms, right? There's spiritual coaches, which I think are very, very important to get the spiritual part of your life together. So there's many different forms of coach. With all that information that us coaches have, we can then utilize that and help other business owners with their blind spots as well.
Hey friends, and welcome back to the Justin Goodbread Show. I'm excited today to have a dear friend and a guest, somebody that I have deep respect for. I've seen his work. He and I have spoken casually throughout our time of knowing each other, but we were connected through the Exit Planning Institute. Now, you know, friends, those of you who listen to me for any length of time, that I'm an instructor at the Exit Planning Institute. I actually teach the financial planning module in the curriculum, and there are about 75% of what's called certified exit planning advisors who are actually financial advisors. And so I had the honor and privilege to talk to these financial advisors throughout many decades, almost a decade now. And I think I've spoken to well over a couple of 5,000 or so financial advisors through my time of teaching. And one person's name keeps coming up. And my guest today was on stage with me this last spring as he was inducted into the Exit Planning Hall of Fame, or what they call the Circle of Excellence. So my guest today's name is Mark Kravietz. Mark, thanks for coming on the show today, brother. Glad to have you here.
Justin, thank you very much for that introduction. Thank you so much for having me as a guest. I know you don't have that many guests on to your program, so I really am very, very appreciative of being here. Thank you.
Well, I think, Mark, that you are the right person to speak to the audience. As you and I were talking about, well, there are business owners of every stripe, every flavor, every type of business that listen to the show. We could have thousands, hundreds of thousands of people download this particular episode. And so I think you have the right tenor, as well as the reputation and the history in business to be able to speak to the heart of the matter that we want to unpack today. So, brother, thanks for coming on the show. So before we get started, who is Mark Kravietz?
Okay, well, I'm a managing partner for Aline Wealth. What we do is we help business owners get ready for and go through their exit of their business. And we do a lot of great prep work, but we also help take care of their money that they receive and redeploy that money so that we can create income, because they're not receiving income anymore from their work. We also look to preserve their capital because they don't want to have to go back and work again, right? And also they want to see growth of their company as well, of their money.
Now, how long have you been in this position that you're talking about as a managing partner?
Well, I've been managing partner for Aline Wealth for a long period of time. I think one of the questions that I get a lot when I look back at what I'm doing is, why do I do that, right? I mean, everybody has their why. What is their why? And I think that it's important lesson here, an important reason why I help business owners. So if you don't mind, can I talk about that?
Absolutely, please.
Okay, great. And it really comes down to my dad. My dad came from another country. He was actually born in Poland, and because of World War II, had to leave Poland, and he was actually on a boat coming to this country, and this country didn't allow him to come in, so he went to Cuba, and so he lived some of his formative years in Cuba until he finally came to this country, and he wound up living in Brooklyn. And he started his job in the garment industry, and he was just a runner. He was just running things all over the place, and really didn't have much of a business background. But soon, through perseverance, through hard work, he was able to move up a little bit, and he started his own company. Small company, very small company, but he was your classic business owner. And he did okay, nothing great, nothing terrible. He did okay, but unfortunately, the industry, as you can imagine, left and went to China. and he never prepared. He never had an exit planner. You talked about Exit Planning Institute, right? You talked about the SEPA certification. There was no SEPAs around there. There was no Exit Planning Institute. There was nothing there. And he wound up seeing his business go out of business. So you're taking this very proud man that came from another country, that started his own business, the classic US story, and you watched it just go out like nothing. He had to liquidate his company. So it was seeing that and watching that and watching my proud dad that happened to him. That's when I decided that I wanted to help business owners get a positive outlook on their a positive situation, a positive exit on their company.
Wow, I did not know that, Mar. That's a powerful story, brother. That's a powerful story. That's a huge why there in of
Yeah.
itself. One of the things then that you can sit back and look at, we talk about exit planning, but maybe I don't want to dive into that particular point. If we take exit planning, that whole topic off and move it off the table, from your experience, maybe it's from watching your dad, maybe it's from watching the other clients that you have the honor and privilege to serve. What is the mistake that business owners consistently make? Now, let's not talk about exit planning quite yet. Outside of exit planning, what is a mistake that they're making that's leaving them shackled or not having the freedom or not reaching their destination or their desires or their dreams, whatever the word is that they're missing the mark on?
I think you can look at it in a couple of different aspects. So let's say you take a business owner that's growing really fast, right? They got a fast growth mindset, but I call it they're growing blindly, right? Then they're not taking a step back. They're just growing for growth purposes. They haven't stopped. They haven't analyzed the growth. They're kind of like, you know, like this. They're not breathing. They just keep going on and on and on and on, and that could be a major mistake. They don't self-analyze. They don't use coaching, right?
Yep. True.
They think that they can do it alone, and they're also not watching their backside, right? They're not preparing for what can go wrong. In Exit Planning Institute, we talk about the 5 Ds, right? We talk about death, divorce, disagreement, disability, and distress,
Right.
right? So they're growing so much that they're not looking at the backside and worrying about that. So that's one part is the growth part. There's the other part where a business owner is not setting goals for themselves. You have a business owner that just kind of getting up every day and doing the work and not setting goals. They don't have anything to attain to. So similar to your thinking, I think the same way. You need to have a goal so that you can have that North Star that you can always be looking to get to.
In your position as a financial advisor, managing partner, let's call it managing partner, but dealing with in the wealth industry, as you know, I was in the wealth industry for 20 years and found my passion. I always said, and you may have heard me say this, that if I had to be a financial advisor for a career, I'd stick a fork in my eye, move to Idaho and sell llamas because I do not like talking about the stock market. It just drives me crazy. But in your seat as a seasoned and very decorated and a man of character, as a in the financial world, why is it, in your opinion, that the business owner scoffs, avoids, tries to DIY the things that deals with those 5 Ds, especially from their personal planning perspective, i.e., whether it be an estate plan, you mentioned lateral diversification, et cetera. Why is it a business owner looks at the industry as Wall Street is evil, in your opinion?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't think that they're educated in understanding just what a financial advisor does. And I think that once they can get educated on that, it would be very, very helpful. And there was a company many years ago called Sims, and they used to talk about how an educated consumer is your best client. I feel the same way. An educated consumer is our best client. Many years ago, before I started working with business owners, I used to teach a class called Financial Strategies for a Successful Retirement. So I was out there doing continuing education programs at universities and schools. Companies would hire me to come in and teach their employees about this. And I always felt that an educated consumer becomes my best client. Once they get educated about what are the things that we are able to do or what they can do, if they want to do it themselves after that,
Right.
that's great. That's fantastic. At least they have the education in terms of what to do.
And you may know this, Mark, but the audience certainly does, is even though I was a financial advisor, I actually hired my own financial advisor, my own financial planner to run my own life. And I was just telling another individual that tomorrow, my children, 19, 16, and 13, my wife and I will be meeting with our attorney, our CPA, and our advisor, all in a family meeting so we can talk about what if dad got hit by a proverbial log truck? What if mom is disabled? All the what ifs, not only the bad, the 5 Ds, but also what if the businesses that we now operate and own were to explode and they become super valuable? So I'm a little different in the fact that I was an advisor and I hired an advisor, but you're an advisor and you have the privilege to work with many, many business owners. Whenever you're working with these business owners, I know you have success stories,
Mhm.
stories to where whenever somebody came in, maybe they were a little bird. I like working in middle America, mom and pops who are like the man's man, the burly style man. They come in, the arms across, and they're looking at you. And before you know it, they're your biggest advocates. I mean, they're calling you at 7:30 in the morning. It's like, Goodbread, what are you doing today, brother? Hey, I got to tell you about what's happening in my business. And they turn from this cross-armed, burly, like it can't help me, to now raving fans. Mark, I'd love to hear from your perspective, sitting in your seat, working with business owners, a few, maybe one story, maybe two stories
Sure.
of business owners who deployed advice in their business and what the result was.
Sure. You get the arms folded. I guess here in New York, it's the hand up, the hand in your face. And my goal is to bring that hand and take it down and have it put it on their lap and then, make a friend out of them. So let me give you an example of something. So I had a gentleman come to me from an advertising company. He owned an advertising company, and this is kind of a multi-year journey that we went through. He came in and he was like, I want to sell my business. He had various things going on, and I want to sell it for 8 figures. It was not worth anywhere close, to that. So we did a valuation. We do a business valuation with Biz Equity. You might be
Yep.
familiar with Biz Equity. So we did a business valuation, did a financial plan, a cash flow analysis for him, and we used the number that Biz Equity had for value of the company. And I showed him that, hey, if you want to sell your business and this is what Biz Equity has for it, you're going to run out of money. It's very simple. You're going to run out of money. So we went back and forth a little bit. I said, listen, you're making very good money. Let's start taking excess money out. Let's create a retirement plan. Let's take excess money out and let's invest that money. Let's use compounding of interest. Let's work it for you. So that's what we started to do. He came one day to me and says, listen, I got a guy. He's gonna sell. He's gonna buy my business. It's gonna be 10. It's gonna be 10.
Yep.
Okay.
8 figures.
All right. Calm down. I'm gonna go. He's gonna go to lunch. So I coached him. I said, listen, this is the things that he's gonna be telling you. He's gonna want to know this and that. He's gonna try to get a lot of information from your business and use it against you. He's a professional. He's a professional buyer. You're not a professional seller. Be careful. Don't let the cat out of the bag. Don't tell him everything. So wound up, he came back, he called me up and said, listen, he asked the same questions. You knew what questions he was going to ask. He asked those questions. I said, well, I've been around the block a couple of times. So speeded up 5 years. He was able to grow the business a little bit more, but he wasn't ready. Justin, you've been around a long time. You know when someone's ready.
Yep.
He psychologically wasn't ready. Wasn't giving up the business. He wanted to do everything himself. I said, listen, you can't do that. You can't do everything yourself. You got to find yourself a president that can run the company, do other things. No, he had to be the salesman. He had to be the account. He had to do everything. Well, he wasn't ready. Okay, but the discipline that he had to put the money away was really helping, and we did another financial plan. He was getting closer and closer to that. So let me go 5 years after that now. Okay. finally, 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 and I give him a bravo. He finally became CEO of the company. He brought in a president to run the company. He's now in the best position that he's ever been. He's now playing guitar on Mondays to an audience. He's doing all the things that he wants to do. He's taken a step back from the business. And now he's allowing himself to enjoy his family, enjoy life, enjoy the things. And without selling his business yet, he now has enough money to live comfortably for the rest of his life. So if he does decide to sell the business, he can do that, but he doesn't have to sell the business. He can do it if he wants to sell the business. So I love that story because this is someone who was successful where he didn't wind up selling. He still owns the business where he didn't sell the business. I enjoy that story.
And from the time he originally approached you that, hey, I want to exit this thing for 8 figures or more, to presently, did I hear you correctly that it's more than 10 years now?
It's 10 years. It's been 10 years. So he came to me about 10 years ago, first 5 years, then another 5 years. So, now without selling the business, he's put away enough money. He's allowed compounding of interest to work for him. He's allowed us to do our job as financial advisors, to invest that money, retirement plan, outside of retirement plan, and so on. And he's now put in an excellent position to exit whenever he wants to, and if he wants to.
That's awesome. One of the things we often talk about is the number of business owners that never transact. In other words, they don't ever transition. I heard an individual break it down this way just this last week. And she said that, there's 11 million businesses right now between now and 2030, roughly about a 6-year period of time, that will go for sale or try to transact. And of those 11 million, only 1 million will actually transact. That means that 10 million will never transact. They'll end up closing the door, or they'll just vaporize. And even though this individual that you're referring to, even though he's had a 10-year journey to where he's taken, I'm going to call it the one leg of the stool, as we often say in the SEPA community, in the exit planning world, we talk about 3 legs of the stool. Right. One of the legs is that of a financial advisor, and that is to make sure that if your business never sells, that you're okay, because statistically, it probably is not going to sell. One of the other legs of the stool is to build the value within the company. And I have to believe, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but if he was working alongside and willing to let control go, often you've seen the business owners, I say, they drive the car, right? They're not willing to let control go of the company. But if he was willing to that, more than likely over that 10-year period of time, he would have been able to reach perhaps a greater level of financial success with your help and guidance to the financial world, as well as having a business that is highly valued, that he could transact or transition to another key employee, a child, PE firm, whatever it may be. So it's interesting to see that whenever business owners do listen to one leg of the stool, they make monumental moves. But man, if they engage it from multiple different approaches, oftentimes those businesses can receive multiplicative style value. I know I personally had that in my own life. You and I've kind of talked about my own journey and some of the things I've experienced. And so it's cool to hear that, Mark.
I have no doubt. And I'm going to agree with you. I have no doubt that you're right. I think that if he did engage a SEPA or someone like yourself or another certified exit planning advisor that worked on his company and he took a step back, there's no doubt that he would have been able to sell his company for a greater level. But the third leg of the stool, because you're talking about the leg of the stool, is you got to be ready. And what are you going to do afterwards?
Right.
He was not ready. He was just not ready. And we've helped guide people on that. And he just wasn't ready for that part.
Absolutely. And you actually led me right into my question. And that is, that third leg of the stool is you have to be ready and know what you're going to do thereafter. Because if you try to sell the business, there's only 4% of business owners who transact are happy a year later after they've transacted. 96% are in dismal position because they didn't hit that third leg. So from your perspective, as I'm going to put you in the financial advisory, the first leg of the stool. I think you made a powerful statement earlier, and that is that if they had a coach. See, I view personally, maybe you have the same position, but I view financial advisors, true financial advisors, those who take a holistic approach, lead with financial planning, work with business owners, are expert in their field and run their lanes, okay? Not who are not trying to sell stocks or the most popular product or the ones with the highest commissions, but true financial advisors are often one of the most powerful coaches in a business owner's life. So as we're talking about this third leg, preparing for the exit,
Right.
preparing for the transition, preparing to close the business, because something's going to happen to the business. How do you view your role or your team's role in coaching business owners to that third leg?
That's a great question. I'm going to give you another example of a business owner that we helped, and I'll get to that point. So this was a man that was in his 40s, food distributor, did evaluation, we did financial planning, did cash flow analysis, did estate planning, took our advice on estate planning, took illiquid discounts on his shares, moved into a trust and all that. When he was ready, we helped him pick out the right investment banker to go to market and to sell the business. He calls up. He's about to sign. It's going to be bought by a publicly traded company. Okay. He's going to make a lot of money. He's going to do very, very well. He calls me the night before. He goes, Mark, I don't know if I could do this. What am I'm 40 something years old. What am I going to do? What am I going to do with my life? I can't. He was so nervous. He was on the ledge, ready to jump and just stop the deal. And we were on the phone probably 2 hours, took him off the ledge, put a blanket around him, sat him down, had a conversation, gave him some milk and cookies, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh yeah.
And we just discussed it. What he was creating was a multi-generational wealth for him and his family. I said, you might never, ever get that chance again in your entire life to create multi-generational, not just you, not just your kids, it could be your grandkids and kids and so on. He wound up signing. He did very well. He has since, this some years ago, he never created another company. So he has not created another company anywhere close to. He's tried. But what he has made an impact, though, he's worked with charities, and so he's made an impact in other ways, not necessarily business and more wealth for his family because he didn't really have to, but he's making an influence and an impact in other areas.
That's interesting. It's interesting he's not moved into another business because, you know,
He's
as you
tried.
know, oh, really?
He's tried. Yeah, he's tried, but, you know, nothing.
Just life.
Yeah, just nothing that he's created like he did the first time.
Yeah, no, I get it. The way I view your role, the role of a financial advisor, true financial advisor, as Michael Kitces often calls us. The way I view the role of a true financial advisor is that of a coach. And I think the 2 hour cookies and milk and blankets and everything, you know, you as the coach of that individual, you knew his aspirations. You'd already had countless meetings about his dreams. You knew the pitfalls. You'd obviously walked this path a couple of times, many more times before this particular client. So you knew what the expectations were going to be. You knew the panic mode, the freak out mode that every business owner is going to have at some point during the transaction. Thank God it wasn't during a retake because that'd be painful, or retrade. But you knew what he was going to face. And if we look at the three legs of the stool, it's all for the goal of what is this one individual's purpose in life. And you're approaching it from the financial side. And oftentimes a value acceleration coach or a value coach will approach it from the business side. From your standpoint, your seat as a finance coach, as I'm going to call you,
okay,
what is the one or two things that you believe clients benefit the most from hiring coaches, whether it be the financial coach, the business coach, because you need both of them at various times in your life. And actually, I think you need the financial coach first because the financial coach is going to be with you after the business is gone because they're going to help you through the exit and the estate and so forth, so on. But what is the benefit that you believe business owners receive when they hire the coaches to help them reach that third leg?
It's a great question. Experience. Beyond anything out there, it's experience. It's that the coaches, whether it's you, me, other CEPAs that are out there that have helped business owners, they've done it. They've been doing it. They've been doing it for a long time. They've gone through it. They've gone through the trials and tribulations that these business owners have gone through. And most of the business owners that I've worked with, almost all, it's their first time and could be their only time that they're going to ever go through this. So, we've gone through this many, many times before. In fact, I've helped over 200 companies, business owners, people, families get ready for and go into the next phase of their life, whatever that is. So I'm a great person to talk to at the very beginning stages.
Oh yeah.
So, because I'm going to understand what that journey is going to be. So I think it's the experience that we have.
That you've heard the statement that the cobbler's kid's shoes are never shod, right? Or the landscaper's grass is always uncut. Whatever the statement is in your particular area of the world, we've always heard that. One of the things that's interesting to me, Mark, is now after exiting 7 companies, I've sold 2 financial planning firms now, is that oftentimes we professionals don't take our own advice. And we professionals don't go out and hire coaches to either help us grow our practices, our businesses, our law firms, our CPA firms, whoever it is. We often don't apply that. What advice would you give to our peers, those who are out coaching business owners, maybe not necessarily in the financial advisor space, but inclusive of them, but those professionals who are out coaching business owners? What advice would you give them around this idea of coaching?
First of all, I think that coaches need coaches as well, right? We all have our blind spots, and a coach can sit with you and look at the blind spots. When I was aligning my company and creating Align Wealth, I was combining with a another advisor, and we were combining. We used a coach because I've never done that before.
Right.
So we use the coach there, and coaches come in many different forms, right? There's spiritual coaches, which I think are very, very important to get the spiritual part of your life together. So there's many different forms of coach. So I think number one, I think coaches need coaching as well. But with all that information that us coaches have, we can then utilize that and help other business owners with their blind spots as well.
Mark, it's certainly been enlightening for me to hear another fellow advisor. I say fellow, an advisor still in the industry who's still working with business owners, and someone of your character and esteem I'm humbled to have you on the show. Mark, I have this one question that I ask every guest. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to think about it. The question is this: if you're around your family, those who you love the deepest, those who know you, all the imperfections, all the flaws, they know the true Mark Kravietz. If you're around them, you're near the end of your life, and you're looking back and you had one piece of advice to give them, what would it be? The reason why I ask that question is because, to me, Mark, one of the saddest places in the world is a cemetery, not because somebody's died, but because so much of a life has been lived for millennia that many people will never know the pain, the struggles, the victories, everything that encompasses in that life could be passed down to other generations to help them not make the same mistakes, exceed, succeed, live fulfilled, whatever the word is. So to me, I'm always trying to gather out what is it that is in this case, that you want to say, man, if I had to give this one piece of advice. I'm always fascinated. So that's the reason why I asked the question. So with that being said, what's the piece of advice you would give your closest friends or family?
That's a fabulous question to end with, Justin. The advice that I would give is work hard, have integrity, because integrity, means a tremendous amount in life and in the people that you're working with, your friends, your family. Have integrity. So work hard, have integrity, and go for it. Go for it, man. Just go for it. That Nike symbol.
Oh yeah.
Just go for it. And I think that dash that you have when you live, you're going to live a life that is unlike any other life that's out there. So I would recommend it to my loved ones. I recommend it to your audience, to business owners. Go out there, have fun, work hard, reap the benefits from the seeds that you've planted.
That's awesome, brother. That's a sound advice. I love it. Mark, thank you so much for coming on the show. Before we sign off, if somebody wanted to connect with you, where could they find more about you, your practice, your company? Just where could they connect with you? Where would you direct them to?
They can come to our website, Aline Wealth, ALINE wealth.com, or they can email me, mkravitz@alinewealth.com. Love to help. I also have a podcast myself. It's called Find Your Exit. I interview business owners that have gone through an exit. You can find me there as well.
That's awesome. Mark, thank you so much for coming on the show today, brother. I know you've helped me, and man, I look forward to the future. I'm going to charge hell with a water pistol. I'm going to go out and just do it. I'm just going to make it happen. Whatever it is, we're going to keep doing it, brother. So thanks for coming on the show today, Mark.
Justin, thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. And friends, I can tell you that the need of a financial coach, a personal coach in your life, in your corner, who knows you, knows your aspirations, knows your dreams, knows your family, somebody that whenever life happens, good or bad, you can pick up the phone and they're going to be there in a minute's notice to help or to encourage. Having somebody like that in your corner is powerful. If you don't have somebody like that, let me tell you, you've just heard from a man that I respect, that I trust, that a man in his firm that can help you. And there's so many other firms, qualified financial advisors in our country. Find just somebody that speaks your language, that you can trust, that you can have in your corner, that can help you, just like my friend Mark here can do for you. And until next time, friends, I'm going to challenge like I always do. You got to go out and make it a great day. You got to make it. It's not going to happen on accident. Go out and make it a great day. We'll see you on the flip side. Take care.